Sunshine. Hello.
Hello. In Germany, it's not sunny actually, Robert.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the sunshine.
But in many countries, probably.
Country.
Und gibt es da etwas, was man für Araken und Live?
Okay.
Morning. Genau.
Morning, all.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Ja. So,
Ik dacht dat het alsnog goedkoper werd dan diesel.
I think
48, hè?
we are enough people now, 41. We have to be more than 30. But in principle, the registration number is more than 95. But I assume that someone, for some reasons, I received an email a few minutes ago that someone is ill or sick, so he cannot attend. But anyway, general terms. Okay. Let's wait less than 1 minute more, and well, you know that this meeting is going to be taped, a video. Yeah. So let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah. So you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to start because we have a very dense agenda, and we have a round table at the end. So please write your questions and note your questions for the end. Close your microphone, please. Please. Thank you. So you see the agenda now. This is a webinar promoted and organized by the Technical University of Madrid, UPM, Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, UPM, as coordinator of the DISTENDER project. And I will explain some few slides just to put you in the perspective. What is the DISTENDER project? And also we have the contributions from the two sister projects in the same call, Knowing and Nevermore. So you see the agenda. In all cases, we have 20 minutes. Then Knowing another 20 minutes, and then Nevermore, and finally we'll have 30 minutes for discussion. So that please write your questions for the specific people. Yeah, the screen is is not full. Write your questions for just a second. Yeah, okay, for the end. So I will start with the presentation of DISTENDER. You see that I have 5 minutes for DISTENDER, and then we have 15 minutes for a specific tool that we have developed at the end of the project. We will end on November this year, so we are just in the last few months to end the project. And Knowing and Nevermore will end next year, at the beginning of next year, so a few months later. So in my presentation, I have 5 minutes, but I will be using 10 minutes, and another 10 minutes will be used by the leader of our Work Package 8, ET. This is a company from Poland. They will provide you with the decision support system technical details, and I will give you in my 10 minutes, that's why I'm using 5 minutes more, my 10 minutes, I will give you a more global perspective of the DSS and the connections with the European Environmental and Climate Change environment, put it in that way, community. So, first of all, the topic we are talking about is the better understanding of the interactions between climate change impacts and risk, mitigation and adaptation options. So basically, this tender, when we start, 3 years and a half, June 22, we will focus on producing strategies on adaptation and mitigation aspects together and between other products. But in this particular case, we are going to focus. The first webinar we had in December was focused on different aspects, but now in this second webinar that we promised in our proposal, we will focus, as I mentioned, on the decision support system. So we are talking about integrating the analysis of the impacts and risk of climate change, mitigation pathways, and adaptation strategies. We have taken different actions in order to produce a general understanding of these synergies, conflicts, and trade-offs between mitigation and adaptation, because these synergies are very, very important. In the scheme you have on the right, you have the connections on the trade-offs and the adaptation and mitigations. So all these actions have been treated together in order to produce a tool. In this case, as the focus of this presentation, we call it DSS, the Decision Support System, and the main focus is for those small villages, small regions, which typically they don't have a lot of information because they have not a lot of funds to produce some kind of a strategy on adaptation and mitigation aspects. It is quite difficult for them. And so if they follow the steps we have produced in this project, and particularly they go into the DSS, it will be much easier for these small villages and a small region. That is the main objective, not only in our project, but also in this presentation. Of course, in our project, we have produced much more results and a lot of data, which will be uploaded in the Zenodo, because in our projects, as you will see, we have experts from many, many different areas. This is the DISTENDER website. 42 months. These are the list of the countries, 30 partners today. Funded budget is 6.4 million euros plus United Kingdom budget, 0.6 million euros. And that is the call. We cover all these areas. You see Earth observation, atmospheric climate modeling, etc. Social behavior. I mean, we have partners for all these areas. Partners who are very expert on the areas they have. They have a long expertise and contributions in different European projects. We have 20 public bodies and 10 non-public bodies with different experience in adaptation and mitigation plans. This is just the distribution in the map. We have also a follower case study number. I mean, you see Alcorcón, which is just close to Madrid, where I am now, of course, the Technical University of Madrid. Ukraine, unfortunately, Ukraine had to be moved from being a core case to be a follower because of the Ukraine war. But they have been doing a fantastic role in all the project. Miskolc in Hungary, sorry. Nova Gorica, represented by Golea, and Valencia City. This is a quite big city compared with the others, represented by the foundation, special foundation in the Valencia City. These are the main results of our project, quantitative and qualitative analysis. So you see all the results we have produced, and on the right side you see products which have been over the results we expected. So these are products which have exceeded the expectations of the production in our project, already reported to the Commission. Commission was quite happy, of course, and this is very important. Well, we have experts on global and meteorological model and climate modeling. This is the downscale approach. For instance, the case study we have a case study in Guimarães, a small area with 1 kilometer spatial resolution, but we have also the Austria country. This is the largest area together with an area in Portugal and Spain, on the agricultural and forestry parts. And in between, we have the city of Turin, but the metropolitan area, another big area, and also the participation from the Northeast authorities in the Netherlands about the water. And this is represented by a university with a signed document. So we cover all these cases. Of course, this is the time step. We are just at the end, you see on the right. Let me give you 2 or 3 slides more about the DSS. DSS, basically we want to use, you see here in the picture that the results of the DSS will be maps, will be a list of strategies in order, you see from the left to the right, one very important strategy. That's our suggestion to the policymakers, the user of the products of our project, and the DSS products is the policymakers. So this will be the main contribution. That it will be a list of strategies, and then the policymakers will obtain the optimal or the most important strategy for them to analyze and to decide from the political point of view. Of course, in the middle time, this is the strategy. Of course, we have 2 rounds, very long to relate. This is something we presented in our first webinar in December. But basically, this is all the process we have to follow. We have followed in the last 3 years, and inside the DSS. When you follow that product, then we have what we call the decision matrix. This, in principle, should be filled out by experts, universities, companies, etc., experts on the area, and that may be a big matrix depending on the number of indicators and number of strategies. The user can propose new strategies, of course, and new indicators. Everything can be managed according to the DSS we have developed. Well, the mathematical approach here, yes, an idea. If you have questions, this is the SOW algorithm. You see there. You have questions, I will be happy to answer at the end in the round table. So thank you very much. And then I will move to the next presentation. The next presentation, as I mentioned, is from ITT from Poland. And it will be Oscar. Oscar, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so can you share your screen?
Okay, give me a second.
Just a second. Yeah, ready.
Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Oskar Reisner, and I am from ITTI. Today I will present to you the final version of the DISTENDER DSS system. And this is the stable version. We have released it at the end of the May. As you may already know, the DISTENDER DSS supports domain closely connected with climate impact risk management. System contains a set of climate change mitigation adaptation strategies and the data to indicate and visualize how these strategies may influence the crucial environmental indicators. It is assumed that the case studies and future cities and regions will use the DSS to identify strategies to move toward in climate-neutral cities and to plan climate adaptation strategies to adapt to the impact of climate change and to protect their citizens. We have divided the DISTENDER application into 2 main parts. A browser of indicators displaying current and future data, along with maps of geographical distribution, and the ranking of strategies feature for evaluating alternative mitigation and adaptation strategies. First, we will go through the functionality of the left part, which consists of the browser of indicators. Then I will show you the right part, which is the ranking of strategies. This is the map section. First, a brief description of the functionality. Our system manages over 1.7 million files, including GeoTIFF maps and Excel files. Users can view maps or see data from a spreadsheet by clicking the button next to a given file. As shown in the presentation, the left screenshot displays a table with all the files, while the right screenshot is a pop-up window that appears when filtering. So the user can filter all the files based on their properties, making it easier to find the file he's looking for. Once the map file is opened, we get this view. This particular map shows the precipitation percentage change in Austria. In the DISTENDER project, we have 5 different areas called core case studies for which research has been conducted. This is one of them. In this view, there are many options visible on the right side. This map can be zoomed in and out. The user can also change the map background. Among the most important features, the user can also generate a report from the map, which creates a PDF file with all the data for the specific displayed map. As shown in the attached screenshot, some files contain data that can only be presented in the form of spreadsheets, and that's how our system displays them. Now we moved to the ranking of strategies section, which is the right part of the application. For each ranking calculation, we use the term project. Each project consists of strategies, indicators, a decision matrix, and weights. The projects...
5 minutes, Oscar.
Yes. The projects or the rankings of strategies are created through a wizard-style process that guides you step by step in creating a project. Now we can see the first step of the project creation process. As you can see, the wizard process consists of 7 steps, starting from the current one and ending with the ranking results. During the project creation, we have dedicated buttons to move forward and backward to the process. Additionally, each step of the wizard is described at the top of the screen in blue text, clearly indicating what needs to be done at each stage. The user has all the necessary information on the screen. So, as you can see in the first step, we enter the project name and optionally a description. In the second step, the user can choose whether they want to copy an existing case study, which has been created by DISTENDER experts, or create a new one. The experts have prepared a filled-out decision matrix for each core case study area, which is essential for creating the strategy ranking. Without copying a core case study, the user would have to manually fill in the decision matrix, which I will show later. Now we can see step 3, where because we copied the core case study in the previous step, the strategies assigned to that area are automatically selected. In this view, the user has the option to choose from the available strategies as well as create new ones. Next is step 4, which is the indicators section view, where indicators are pre-selected due to choosing an existing case study. In this step, you can also select, deselect, or create new indicators, just like the user could do in the strategies view. Here we see the decision matrix filled with values by DISTENDER experts. If we hadn't copied the core case study in step 2, we would have to fill out this matrix ourselves. Additionally, each value in the matrix is accompanied by a confidence level assigned by DISTENDER expert, with a green circle indicating high certainty and red indicating low. Next, we have the weight view, where the user can adjust the weights of the indicators. depending on how important a particular indicator seems to the user. The user assigns it an appropriate weight. If we leave the weights at their default settings, which is 100%, the indicators are taken into account equally. This is the final step, where the project is saved and the ranking reveals the best strategies for the given scenario. On the left, there is a column chart displaying the strategy scores, while on the right, a radar chart illustrates how each indicator influences the final score of a strategy. After clicking column with strategy on the left, the radar chart on the right displays the data for clicked strategy. The user can always download this whole report. The report includes the full list of strategies and indicators used, with all the necessary informations included. It also contains the visible charts. This is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you very much for keeping your time. So now we move to the next presentation. The next presentation is from the Knowing project, a sister project. And there are, like the others, 5 minutes for presentation. If you can change it as I did it, and 15 minutes for a specific presentation from this project. Marianne, I think you are there, or Thomas?
Kristen, yes, hi.
Oh, Kristen, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Yeah, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. You can share your screen.
Can you see my screen? I had shared it.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, great.
Yes.
Thanks, and good morning, everyone. So my name is Kristen, and I'm the coordinator of the Knowing project, and I'm here together with my colleague Mariana, who is the scientific coordinator, and we're happy to share a bit about Knowing with you, just at a very high level, as well as our latest advancements. So our starting point, and probably the reason why we're all here, is because of the challenges that are common to many cities and regions when it comes to responding to the climate crisis. So we know that, sorry, I'm getting over a cold too. So there are a variety of strategies that have been developed by regions across Europe and beyond for different sectors, such as the SACAP, development strategies, sustainable urban mobility plans, and so forth. But there is a lack of coherence between these strategies. For example, the impact of the measures planned are unknown. The measures are defined just for one sector, for example, for transport, but the intersectoral dependencies are not accounted for. And measures are often defined but not necessarily implemented, which leads to the risk that adaptation, there also could be adaptation efforts that continue to fuel climate change. So these strategies are really ambitious, and yet without an integrated approach, the whole is often less than the sum of its parts, and consequently, climate targets might seem like they're out of reach. So that's why Knowing is needed. We need to take a systems perspective to understand what adaptation measures we can afford without further harming the climate, and which mitigation efforts will be the most impactful.
Tle imam neko konferenco v ozadju na potiho, če boš kaj slišala na
Sorry,
drugem.
Yeah.
is there a problem?
Yeah.
I didn't
you can
understand.
Continue. Sorry.
Okay.
No. Everything is okay.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yes, so we're taking a systemic approach using cross-sectoral modeling with a regional focus, and we're going to produce transferable mitigation pathways, which is what we're moving into doing now. So we're focusing on 4 demonstrator regions, which focus on the areas of heat waves and health, soil fertility and agriculture, and flooding and infrastructure in river and coastal regions. And we also have 5 follower regions, which were recently onboarded. So their work is really intensifying now, and they are Valencia, Tyrol, Lauenburg, Zagreb, and Ho Chi Minh. So what is Knowing doing? In a broad sense, we're helping cities and regions to better understand and respond to climate change. And this is supported by our 4 core areas of work, which cover developing a framework to understand and quantify the interactions between climate change impacts and mitigation measures and adaptation strategies. So taking this sort of integrated approach. We're also focusing on the 3 climate impact contexts, which I mentioned, with the flooding and infrastructure having 2 parts, the river and the coastal. We're also identifying climate mitigation and adaptation pathways, which will be one of the main outputs of our project, and will be ready toward the end of this year. And these are along optimized combinations of interventions in the different sectors. And we're also developing a number of tools to empower the public, the private, and academic sectors, as well as citizens, by raising awareness, educating, and supporting decision-making. So at this point in the project, about 3 years in, we've made significant progress toward reaching these goals. And I would invite you all to take a look at our website, which is knowing-climate.eu. It's also in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And many of the achievements that are listed on the left are available there. So we have our KIC-related measures inventory and our climate impact coping typology, which are some interesting reports to look through. And then we have a number of outputs related to our qualitative interactive model, the impact interaction model framework, backcasting transferability concept, which will be further developed as we reach the final year of the project, and our KIC modeling plan. And then what's currently under development are a number of our tools. So we have our app, Shape Your Future, which you'll be hearing a bit more about in the next presentation. And we're also developing a knowledge base and a DSS, a decision support service. Yeah, we look forward to presenting those when they're ready in the next webinar, hopefully. We're also finalizing our playful trainings blueprint, and we are working toward developing one of the main outputs of the project, which is our climate mitigation and adaptation pathways and the transferability concept for them, so they can be applied to other regions in Europe and beyond. So this is just to give you a little overview of the knowing tools and also the target audiences that they're meant for. So our knowledge base is meant to cater to the needs of all of our target groups. So that includes industry, civil society, science and education, policymakers and administrations. The Shape Your Future app is targeted more towards civil society, but it can also be used, for example, as part of the playful trainings, which are mostly targeting policymakers and administrations, and also science and education. And then there's the decision support system, which is also, of course, targeting the policymakers and administrations. And we look forward to presenting all of this and putting it on our website, of course, when it's finally available. That's all from my side. So now I think I can hand it over to Nicole from OVOS,
Yeah. Yes.
and she can present the Shape Your Future app.
Thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you.
Hello.
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, but a bit quiet.
Be quiet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, is this better?
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Thanks.
Okay, great, thanks. So I'll share my screen quickly. Oh. Okay, of course there's some issues with the screen sharing now. Okay. Okay, sorry, this is taking. All right. Okay, well, my name is Nicole Salmon. I'm basically working for OVOS, OVOS Media. We're based in Vienna, and we're the technical partner of the Knowing project, and we are developing a few of our tools, which one of them is the app Shape Your Future. I'm going to be showing you a little bit, giving you some insights into what we've been doing. So you can see the web version of the app now. This is basically a mobile-first app, but it's adaptable. So it's available in Google Play Store and App Store. And we have kept this these sections. So I'm gonna just show you what the introduction section is for. We wanted to well, give a bit of an insight into how the app, what the app is for, and the project partners. So we're providing the platform, and we're also doing the design for it. And everything is kind of built up as little slides, little cards that can be adapted. And yeah, this is a bit of the boring part, so I won't show you more of this. What is really what we're really proud of is basically the parts where we explain, well, what mitigation adaptation measures can be taken, why quick solutions are not enough. And we are experts in storytelling, so we have, together with the AIT, worked on several stories throughout the last few years on different topics. And as the app is targeted to the civil society mostly, we wanted to have a low threshold in everyday life issues that people are facing. For example, can electric cars save our planet? So is this a quick solution? Or air conditioning is something that, of course, has been talked about a lot. And to give them the bigger picture of what is actually happening. So the different sectors, they're interconnected. And we decided to use these stories, and I'm going to show you a bit here. Yeah, to give a bit of a feeling of how complex the whole topic actually is. So let's go into the air conditioning story. And we always start with, well, with a persona or a family in this case, who live in a city that is affected quite a lot by heat. And you can already see here in the app, we have different options of doing the storytelling. So we don't only just provide text, but here, for example, it can be an interactive one. And so the user goes through it and has the option of clicking their way through. And I'm going to jump a little to the next part, because we did this non-linear storytelling in order to give users also a bit of a chance to think for themselves. Would they, well, in their place, would they buy an AC or not? And then depending on what they choose, the story continues. So I wanted to also show you this, because we, like I said, together with the AIT, developed infographics to show the different sectors. And when you go into the infographic a bit deeper, you see all the effects different things have. So on different sectors, and so negative or positive. So the green ones are the more positive ones, and the red ones the negative ones. And so that way, we want to give a bit of a larger context. And also afterwards, we usually added some quiz questions so for example, this one is a closed one, and I'll just choose a random thing, and you can see and read for yourself and also get some more input afterwards. Yeah, so making this a little bit more interactive to get people thinking, to reflect a little bit more. It's very important to us also to not to provide an like the option or the path that is more valuable or not. We just wanted to make people reflect. So there's also quite a lot of survey questions in there, which we can actually collect anonymously. But yeah, we basically trying to keep it more neutral, but make people reflect. So this is one part of the app. I'll just quickly also show the other important parts, which is the regional impacts and actions. So we have basically looked at the different areas that Christian already mentioned. So Tallinn, Granollers, Naples, and South Westphalia. And this is currently under construction, but we have been looking at the issues that those regions are facing, what can be done, and then the certain visions that those cities have, or the climate actions, projects that are happening, also surveys for groups that will, for people that will maybe take part in workshops and look at this section of the app. And again, we've been trying to provide a more interesting way of showing what's happening. So for example, here you see infographics where you can open hotspots and see what measures are, what is basically already happening there. Yeah, I think that is basically it. And these parts, so this part of the app, we also plan to translate in order for the regions to be able to read them or explore them in their own languages. Yeah, I think that's a good overview.
Okay, Nicole, thank you very much. You keep it on time, very much on time. So we move to the next project, is Nevermore. Again, we have the same time. I mean, 5 minutes for the presentation and 15 minutes for a specific tool. Alexia,
Yeah.
I think you are there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alexia, the floor is yours. You are ready.
Thank
when
you.
When you want.
I hope you can see my screen, first of all. So good morning, everyone. So I'm Alessia Torre.
Yeah.
I'm the project coordinator of the third sister project, Nevermore from the Bruno Kessler Foundation. I will shortly introduce the project and then leave the floor to my colleague Mircea Vachile from Simavi, who is the responsible for the ICT toolkit development, so our work package 7. But together with us today in this call, there are also several partners, and Ivan Ramos, who is the scientific manager of our project. So very shortly, this is us. We are 16 partners from 8 European countries. We started in June 2022, and we conclude the project in basically 1 year, in May 2026. These are the main objectives of our project. So we start from advancing the production of knowledge on climate change, climate science, and climate policy, and involve multiple categories of stakeholders in this scientific discussion in order to make it more inclusive. We evaluate through global and local model embedded in an integrated common assessment framework the impacts, risks, and vulnerabilities caused by climate change. We develop tools as well as technical and policy recommendations for policymakers to help them in the decision making. We plan also to involve other categories of stakeholders, inform citizens and other, so to create awareness basically on climate change effects and future scenarios. And we also organize activities to uptake research results at the international level through engaging other important networks such as the Covenant of Mayors, but also the collaboration with all of you relevant projects. So we have 5 case studies, all representative of climate change hotspots in Europe. We have an island, we have a mountain region, a boreal region, and a Mediterranean region, but we also have a wetland distributed all across Europe. We focus on the modeling theory. So first of all, we have an integrated assessment model operating at the global European level, which is William, which was developed in the context of a previous project. It is based on open source system dynamics. It includes, it's a multi-regional model based on 8 global regions and all the 27 European countries, and includes 8 modules of Earth and human systems in order to provide high detail in the representation of economic, social, land use, energy, and material processes. We have also modeling activities at the local level. So through a bottom-up approach, then we align the different scales. So we started in our case studies with identification of the key hazards and assets of interest for all of them. You can see depicted here in the table. So we have different sectors that were chosen because they are most vulnerable for each case study. So for instance, agriculture in Crete, ski tourism in Trentino, road in Norrbotten, water system in Murcia, and agriculture again in Romania in the wetland. So we collected data for each local analysis. In all of this, we engage our local stakeholders. We created risk maps in order to prioritize the areas for further investigation and deployment of adaptation and mitigation measures. We have also built a local model, also based on system dynamics. And it comprises 2 main modules, one for mitigation and one for adaptation, that are interacting with each other. And the model, the local one, of course, focus on the most relevant policy sectors that have been identified by the case studies. In all of our activities, one other important pillar is that we work a lot with the local stakeholders. So in each case study, we have built what we call local councils. These are working groups, heterogeneous, with people from different expertise and knowledge specific for the sector that were chosen by the case studies. We have involved them in several rounds of consultations in our project in order to collect the data for the case studies, but also to feed the models, and now for gathering requirements for the development of our ICT toolkit, and then we will involve them also in the testing phase. Finally, we also have built a transnational council, which is more transversal and operates at the European level, including experts on climate change from all over Europe and some members of the local councils. This is something that I said already. So the councils contribute in the project by helping us identifying local challenges and priorities, in imagining future scenarios and defining new adaptation and mitigation measures, and again in the design and development of the models and the digital tools. Now I leave the floor to Mircea Vasile to present the ICT toolkit, which in our case is in a, let's say, preliminary phase, in the sense that the prototype will be released in the next month, actually by the end of July. So he will present the current status of the 4 components of the tools, of the ICT toolkit.
Thank you, Alessia. Hello, everybody. I'm Mircea Vasile from Simavi, located in Bucharest, Romania, and we are leading the development of the NEVERMORE ICT toolkit. Next slide, please, Alessia. So this toolkit consists of 4 software applications in a different level of matureness. First of one is the more mature, the adaptation and mitigation catalog that help users to understand the interactions between the climate changes and the adaptations and mitigations policies using an user-friendly and interactive interface. This is mainly for policymakers, researchers, and citizens. Then the second one, the EU scale tool, is about evaluations of different policies, action scenarios, and on a EU global scale, based on William simulations results to get useful policy recommendations for a good sustainable future. So it is also for policymakers and citizens. Then downscaling on the local areas, the case study tool is about evaluations, then main climate change hazards, for example, drought, floods, impacts, vulnerabilities, and risks, to create different adaptations and mitigations policies from the catalog applied on the local scale. This is also for policymakers, the experts in climate changes, and for citizens. And the last one is an e-learning tool, an educational simulation game to create the awareness about the climate changes using two playing options in teams or individual. Player will learn different solutions to fight and adapt to the impacts of the climate changes. This is for main public, for students, for teachers, and for citizens. Next, please. So our platform is already available on the URL displayed. Here we have the login interface and the user management, the product data management, and are done by implementing a key clock solutions. And the items of the main menu, the case study, the gamifications, the catalog, and the use-scale tool. It is multi-language, so every user can select his own language. Next, please. The first tool is the policy and measures catalog. It's actually a database implementing the Postgres SQL database, but having a nice interface, displaying hierarchical structures. It is fully available, the first version. It can select multiple policies and measures and link them with the local scale and the EU scale tool. And for supporting the other tools like case study and the gamifications, behind this is a powerful API for data retrieval in the machine readable format. Next. So, as I said, it's an hierarchical structures. In the middle, the green circle is the catalog, and the nodes, the points can be expanded and collapsed. So first circle of nodes is the primary sector. Here it is selected the agriculture, forestry, and fishing. Then the secondary sector is selected by a diversity and natural heritage, and it offers some solutions. The user can browse and choose one solution. Here it is selected the forest protection and restoration. In the right side, you can find a nice description of the solution, the AMS scale, the type of the solution, land management, the scope, the adaptation and mitigations, and it follows by the contributions to the UN SDGs. Next, please. So these are the Sustainable Development Goals that these solutions are impacting. In that case, there are no poverty, zero hunger, clean water and sanitations, and so on. And all these informations can be downloaded in the PDF formats for the users. As I said, behind the nice interface is the powerful API consisting in post and get methods, doing everything, actually updating the catalog, get the full catalog, get and post the measures, documents, targets, SDGs, resources, and impact. It is very helpful to be accessed by the other tool like local case and gamification. Next. So let's talk a bit about the UScale tool. It is useful for creating for management of the policy action scenarios. We can create different policies, delete and modify. We can compare predefined scenarios. Every user can share comments and opinions to do a greater interactivity of the tool. That is leading. That the goal is to create a scenario selecting the most suitable assumptions and policies, comparing it to the predefined scenarios included in the tool, and all these scenarios will collect variables for the future creating the simulations using a William model. Next, please. So once we create a scenario, we can do a policy parameterizations for the William models, and it follows by the model executions using a service based on the DLL license and VANSI. You can see here the example of policy parameterizations, selecting a sector and objectives, and in the right side you can adjust different variables and parameters. Next. Then with all the variables and parameters, we can run simulations with William models, which is running on the Cardiff premises. We can use publications and compilations of the models, the files for policies and the indicator selections. This all conduct to an automating the simulations process after the policies change. So all the simulations are lately stored to be used by the other tools, as we can see in the future. Please, next. So it's time to talk about to apply the simulations on the local areas. We have 5 case studies, and first we have to select the case study to implement an assessment based on the specificities. Then we select and evaluate the different priorities sectors, and we can get the information on the main challenges. So clicking first the case study, then the sector, and the objective, the main hazards. Next. Gathering all the input data, we can get a clear explanations of the case studies tools, and we can select and plot different essential climate variables available, and based on these variables and the hazards chosen, we are displaying some graphs very relevant according to the simulations. And when we are combining some topics, sectors, and hazards, we can get some assets, vulnerabilities, and risks displayed on the map. Here it's working in progress, but in the future we can see the assets with different colors and different icons displayed on the map. All these informations can be downloaded. Next, this is a sectoral comparison from the point of view of vulnerabilities and risks. So we can select hazards, and for every sector we have nice graphs plotted using different areas of the region. So it is allowed to modify the hazard selections to present different results. Next. Then the last screens are about the policies recommendations, the policies priorities. So it allows users to define objectives and priorities by means of the set of guided questions. So the user can select the main sector, select the priorities and the objectives, set it is an adaptation or mitigations, and a set a priority of the objectives and the applications according to the simulations. Based a list of recommended policies together with the policies descriptions to be applied for the selected region. Next, please. And in the last tool, it's time to play some game and learn something about the climate changes. The gamifications tool presents two ways of using it by use the game for groups, for teams, or individually. It consists in two missions. The first one is the climate change mitigations, in which the user can select a role between pre-selected ones, the role of energy expert or environmental or economy or social expert. And we are going next. The user can define the most suitable policies on mitigations in the form of questions, a set of 10 questions to apply to select the proper response. And finally, the results will be displayed according to the simulation existed. The user can select the indicator to be reviewed. Here it is an example of CO2 emission per capita. You can see different graphs corresponding to different areas from the simulations model, and the global temperature increase according to these simulations. Next. Okay, the second mission is about the climate changes adaptations based on the case study. So the user can select a case study based on the suggestions. Then select the main hazard to work in the adaptations based on the recommendations. And select and implement relevant adaptations policies in a form of tycoon games. So the users have available an amount of money and a list of the policies with different prices, and he or she can select the most proper combinations of these policies. And finally, they can get the result. Next. The results for the tycoon game is done in the right side, the comparison of the results that illustrate the efficiency of the combinations of the policies, as well as the analyzing of the effects of adaptation policies, including the benefits and cost of inaction in the graphs. From on the left side, you can see the graph of the scenario without additional adaptation and with additional adaptation. And this is it for our software applications. Thank you.
Yeah, just to conclude, these are our communication channels. So the social media, where you can follow our updates, and then of course you can reach us through our website and also subscribe to the newsletter, which is sent each semester with updates on the case studies, on the project development, on also our collaboration with sister projects and other relevant initiatives, and also with the stakeholders and upcoming events of Nevermore. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexia and Misea. I think this concludes the presentations we have now, and now we go to the roundtable for questions, answers, etc. I think that the presentations have produced a good idea about these projects. Again, Nevermore and Knowing are in an earlier stage than DISTENDER, and DISTENDER is in a more advanced stage because we finish in November and they finish a little bit later. So this is something to keep in mind all the time. So if someone wants to make any question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will put some questions in the floor to be a little bit creative and in order to start for some reflections. Any question from the participants, please?
There is one in the Teams by Emilia Cervera with a question.
Okay. I don't see any raised hand. Oh, see. Yeah. Let me see now. Rafael. Yes.
Yes, thank you. My question is concerning this the second project. Christine Thomas, I have heard about mitigation and adaptation pathways. That is something artificial. It's related to some public standards, for example, those proposed by the Covenant of Mayors in terms of CCAPs and so on. It's some production emerging from your own project. Can you tell us something about that?
Thanks for this question, Rafael. So I think my colleague Mariana can probably give you even more detailed information than I can, but on a more general level, these pathways are being developed. It's coming out of the modeling in our project. So we have the system dynamics modeling and also the domain models that are contributing to this, and that's in our demonstrator regions. So basically, in short, it's the result of this sort of intersectoral modeling that we're doing. But Mariana, if you want to add any details, please feel free.
Thanks. Also, thank you for the question. So everything that Kristin just said, I just wanted a few details. So we built upon existing strategies within the regions and then had specific workshops with them to detail what interventions they foresee at what point in time. Those are then included in these very specific models together with our expertise to now develop within the system dynamics the overall pathway. And the idea of the system dynamics is to comprehensively display how one intervention can affect various sectors. So that's why we don't just take one specific model and have this pathway, but rather it's a combination of all. I hope that clarifies our approach.
Thank you. I think there is another hand up from Hans Martin. Come on, Hans.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Hans Martin Füssel. I'm with the European Environment Agency. It was very interesting to follow this seminar. To say that I don't have much background information about the models and how to relate to each other and also the target group. So would be happy to read up a bit more if that material is available. The specific question, I also put it to the Q&A, but maybe you couldn't see it, to the NEVERMORE project, because you also looked at the EU level as one of the levels. Maybe just could you give some examples of what kind of policy strategies, in particular adaptation strategies, are considered at the EU level in this tool? Thank you.
Thank you. I will maybe, considering that you have my technical colleagues here, maybe ask if they want to take the question. So I don't know, Ivan, maybe you can answer better.
Well, hello, good morning. Ideally, the William model is more focused on the part of mitigation. We are trying to progress in the part of adaptation, including some damage functions related with the specific impacts of climate change. But as I said before, the focus of William model, that is the part, or it's the model that is running at the European and global scale, is more focused on mitigation. And the policies that are now integrated in the model cover the part of mitigation very well, with focus on specific actions based on land use and others related with transport, social aspects, and so on. But we have this lack of information on how to progress with the adaptation, but we are trying to cover it.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add basically that, for instance, in DISTENDER, I think when I explain very quickly, of course, because the time is limited, the adaptation and mitigation strategies are put together. And then at the end, we have a ranking of these strategies, because the main objective in our project is to integrate both of them. But yeah, I think this is, something to answer fans on this. Any other comment from someone, please? Jose, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Very interesting, all the three presentations, especially for us, Nevermore and Knowing, of course. I would like to know from Knowing and Nevermore, sorry, which are the, in general, I know the explanation should be very brief, the engagement strategy that you follow, if you engage stakeholders, etc., in consultation process, and how you build your model if you work with external people from the project. Thank you.
So Christy first, or Alessia?
Yeah, I can. Well, sorry, no, Marian, go first. I'm in a very noisy place, actually, so it's better if you go and then I will reply. Maybe it will be more silent.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure who to start now. So, yes, thanks for this question. It's actually a very important aspect of our project. I think that is shared between all three sister projects. So, in the beginning, we established, I think it's the same different name. It's a local hub. It can also be called the COP, Community of Practice. It's a specific stakeholder round that was engaged already in the very beginning, and then there were 3 very specific workshops to set up these pathways that I mentioned before. So to first make the regional stakeholders aware of what they're facing, so focusing on hazards and risks. Then on the interventions they are already aware of that may be additionally important, also with the benefits and maybe not so well aspect of interventions. I think that's also something that you shared, this comprehensive view on measures. And then the third was the visions workshop. And then the engagement slowed a bit in the sense that now the modeling picked up, and we then have again this final workshop where we present the pathways. So it was a clear plan, and we followed a specific blueprint in a sense, so that it is also comparable between the different demonstrator regions, how the people were engaged, how the local stakeholders were engaged, and of course it also depends a lot on the regional partners. So both the governance but also the scientific partner who is responsible. And we were very lucky from our side, I have to say. It worked very well, and the regions are and were very motivated and engaged, even when we asked a lot of data sets from them. So this kind of put it on a test, on a stress test. But yeah, I think that was this is our approach. And the app, sorry, just the final note, the app that Nicole showed, in the end, there is this regional part, right, where they can, in the local language, engage with their communities. So this is something also to ensure that the interactions can also go beyond.
Thank you.
Okay, so on our side, as explained, we have this participatory process that starts from the local level with these local councils built in each case study. Basically, we in each case study we have the involvement of 2 partners. One is most likely a public administration or a local organization which has a lot of already of good contacts to engage the local community. And for instance, I can give our example of our case study in Trentino with the involvement of the autonomous province of Trento, and in particular of the tourism department, considering that the main focus of the Trentino case study is the ski tourism, winter tourism. We managed to involve in our local stakeholder groups, a local stakeholder group like ski resort companies, but also other tourism sector workers. So it's quite heterogeneous, while we have other case studies focusing on something different. like Murcia, that is involving 13 municipalities from the whole region, working in order to integrate the results of Nevermore in the development and implementation of the local CCAP, but we have more. So basically, we adopt with them social innovation and service design approach in workshops, most likely physical workshops, sometimes also online. So far, we have run with them 4 consultations. The first one was for the case study characterization, so for gathering the data in order to identify and prioritize the challenges at the local level. Then we had another one in order to identify measures and policies to feed the policy catalog that we have built and released a few months ago. But also then we have involved them in the building the storylines for the William model, for the risk analysis and impact assessment performed at the local level in the context of our work package 6. And now we are involving them soon in framing the policy recommendations, which will be an important moment. And also we are going to present this first prototype of the ICT toolkit so that we'll be able to test it with them in the near future. So in the last year of the project, basically. Of course, yeah, maybe I can add something. Or it's quite challenging to keep them involved all the time, even when there are no consultations or workshops organized in the near future. So it's important to have a direct contact with them, to send them update communication materials that we are building ad hoc. So it's challenging, but it was successfully so far in our project. We have good average of participation in all the local councils.
In this tender project, the main partners that contacted the stakeholders were the core case studies that organized. We also organized workshops, and they did a lot of work identifying and contacting, and it's really labor intensive. So it's very important, their role in that sense. So yeah, you understand. I think there is a question that Emilio Cervera put in the chat. I don't know if you have read that,
in the chat,
Roberto.
In the chat,
yes.
Yes. Let me see. Million.
I can read it myself if you want. It's in the Q&A.
Yeah, Emilio, please.
It's in the Q&A section of Teams.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentations. I had a question for the knowing colleagues, or well, a couple of them. Everything seemed really interesting. Congratulations. I was curious if you could provide more details on the playful training framework. If the resources are going to be published on the web, if you are planning to also translate them to other languages, and also how are you planning, or what are you trying to do in order to make them flexible? As I see that in the web you state that you want it to be suitable for different backgrounds, different objectives. So I was really curious to see how are you planning to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your interest, Emilio. I'll just give some general responses to that, and then I think actually Nicole would be best placed to give more details. She's still with us, right, Nicole?
I check and you can
Maybe
start
not.
answering.
Okay. Okay. Well, I can say in a general sense, so the playful trainings have been developed partly as an awareness raising tool to sort of, in a similar vein as the app, to raise awareness about the complexity of the climate crisis and how to address it with mitigation and adaptation measures. So it has a modular approach. And it can be adapted to different local contexts. So there's 3 sections in it. We will make it available on the website. It won't be translated into different languages. That would be sort of the responsibility of the local administration to do using whatever tools, maybe AI or something. And actually, yeah, you're right. So Stefan is here as well, and he can also respond to some of this. He's been working on the playful trainings as well. Stefan?
Yes, thank you, Christine, indeed. So the idea is, first of all, we have produced 50 slides, and that according to the target group, the moderator makes a selection of these slides. There are some interactive elements in it, so playful means interaction, not gamification in this context, so that the audience gets in this way a better understanding of what actually climate challenges are. And we have pointed actually to conflicts that come up by carrying out some mitigation initiatives, for example, so that people also learn to manage their own expectations with regard to climate actions. So this has come from practical experiences in dealing with climate initiatives on a voluntary basis, for example. So it addresses, for us as scientists and as experts, also the simple questions: why should we assume that climate change is human-made, for example? Also facing more and more criticism or denial from the populist side. So we all know that the trends have changed. So it should be really a presentation for actually the current situation, the political situation we are in, addressing major questions that come up from let's say, from the civil society in the first place. And it gives some introduction to systemic thinking. What can models do? Actually, can we believe them, and so on?
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't raise my hand, but I would like to say
Yeah,
one
yeah,
word
of
and then
course,
ask
of
also a
course,
question.
Marianne. Yes, of course, Marianne. Anytime. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, just as an add-on, I think one of the complexities we're all facing is that none of the interventions or measures we can take just have one effect. And within knowing, we try to also display this. And also within the app stories, there are often branches and also these interactions in different sectors to show, which is maybe not so wanted, that there is no easy solutions in a sense, and that you have to know what you want to solve to then pick the right solution. I think that's also what you, with these indicators that you can select, for instance, in your projects in this decision support system, that also reflects this, that you have to take some decisions first or some prioritization to pick the best strategy or measure. And my question is actually to DISTENDER and NEVERMORE. Can you already, maybe your tools are already out, or if not, when do you think you will provide them? So, because they look very interesting, and I would be very happy to have a closer look.
So from our side, as I said before, we will release the prototype in a month, let's say, so in July. What we're planning to do and the way how you can actually have a look at them is during the testing phase, where we plan to involve also the sister project. So you will know more about this in the near future, but we plan to involve you in testing the tools. And then, of course, they will be publicly released at the end of the project with the final release.
Okay. So I think this is a good opportunity because we are, I mean, during the presentation, we have been something like 80 people or even more. Now we are 68 persons in present. So, for instance, Emilio Cervera represents the city of Valencia. So formally speaking, in this tender, he is one of the, let's say, policymakers who will be able to use one of the tools we are presenting here. So I would like to open the floor to stakeholders who are present here, and what do they think, according to the presentations, about the different tools we have presented here from different projects, even taking into account that the other two projects, Knowing and Nevermore, are a little bit more late when compared with DISTENDER because of the time schedule we have. So if some of the stakeholders that are present here would like to talk to see how do they see the different tools, For instance, the DSS we have presented is already finished almost, and the other tools that have been presented from Knowing and Nevermore is, yeah, Emilio, please.
Yeah, thank you, Roberto. Yeah, on my side, as maybe related to the questions I made earlier, I'm really interested in all the tools that are focused on awareness raising and training. Because I have the feeling that, given the current situation, this is key. So we need to be able to counteract all the narrative that is going on and to really make people aware of the need to work on this, because otherwise I don't think that there is going to be a strong political will to act on this, and therefore we wouldn't be able to use the other tools. So, I mean, if we want to use the decision support system and all these tools, that needs to come because there is a political will to do so and to develop these strategies, but not only to develop them, but to implement them. For that, we need budgets. Many times in local administration or regional governments, we develop strategies, we develop plans, we develop like the CCAPs, but then they don't, or the climate city contracts, they don't have a budget assigned. And at the end, they become, something that is really nice on a website, but that does not become reality. And I think that for that, we need people asking for it. And we need people to be aware of all these interrelationships that have been described, and that I think that the tools are showing well. And I think people basically need to know that this is their well-being, their sons and daughters' well-being, and keeping cities livable or regions. So I think that, we need to go to the basics. We need to make people aware of this, and then the political representatives will be kind of forced to follow this.
Yeah. Thank you, Emilio. Thank you. Any other reaction from the policymakers? I mean, I know that Irene, for instance, from Turin. Irene, do you have anything to comment from the Turin metropolitan area? Or any other one? I know the people in DISTENDER. Alp, please.
I have one question. Actually, first, thank you for all these presentations. One point that sparked my attention is, in DISTENDER we have this DSS tool, and it is almost on the final phase. And in Knowing, we also see in the presentation that you also have, Kristen, a DSS tool. To what extent these two tools can be integrated? And this is it another opportunity for collaboration between these two projects?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good point, Alp.
Maybe I start, and then Kristen, you take over, because I also wanted to react on something Emilio said beforehand.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, Alp, I think your suggestion or your thought about combining the DSS, or maybe seeing how complement all these tools are that we are developing, it's crucial, because I see it also different in other projects. DSS or different tools are developed, and then they exist for a while, and then they're gone, and each has its strengths and weaknesses. So the combination would be key, actually. This is so far not accounted for in projects and the budget. So maybe that's also something we could give as a recommendation or lessons learned to our PO. And also, I thought when Emilio, you mentioned this, that there is no financing. And this is a crucial aspect. I fully agree. And therefore, I think it would also need a better estimation of the damage. So I also was alerted by Ivan, you mentioning damage functions, because also this information is so hard to get, how much impact it has. And I mean, the knowing itself is not about the impact, but rather this mitigation pathway. But for the financing, the impact is so crucial. So there is still a gap on this quantification of damage, quantification of financial needs you have to cover, adaptation or mitigation efforts and what you gain by it. And I think the strength of knowing DISTENDER and NEVERMORE is that we also show what you gain beyond your specific goal, maybe. Nevertheless, we need also the gain in the monetary aspect to be better quantified. So from my understanding, it's still a gap that was also not meant to be fulfilled by our project, but it definitely still exists.
Yeah. Emilio, please. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, very interesting, of course, Marianne. Yes, I think it's crucial, all what you mentioned. Yeah, well, the other way around is as to the stakeholders present here, if they see barriers. I know that we already mentioned some barriers about the budget. But I agree with Emilio about that some policymakers may be not very much interested on that. And then from the citizen point of view, we have to press somehow onto the political community to take action on that. That I think this is very important. For instance, in our DSS, which is already almost finished, when we put it in the website in the next weeks, anyone can use it, anyone, and it's quite simple to understand. But of course, if you want to do it in a deep way, then you have to apply with different experts. But of course, if you don't want to do it, you can put your expertise. This is just an example. We have focused on the simplicity, but without taking the formalism of the science. Because, in our project, we have very good modelers on water, air quality, etc., and they have produced this information for the 4 case studies. But if you want to apply for any other case in Europe, then you have to follow the methodology. It's not difficult, but it's just we have made an effort of that. And according to what I heard from Knowing and Nevermore today, I mean, the approach is even, I would say, even quite simpler. So for me, this is very important, because that's the way to reach immediately, not only the citizen, but the policymaker, in fact. So I think that the time is almost finished. So we have just now 2-3 minutes. If there is a final comment from some of you who have been talking or not, or any final question. Oh, Sasa, our project officer is here. Please, Sasa. Welcome for the last 3 minutes, please. Hello, Sasa.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
You are the project officer of the 3, yes. So
you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah,
okay,
very clear.
Great. Yeah, I feel like I can and I should jump in, because I think you opened a very interesting discussion, and I'm actually very happy that you're having it from all the 3 projects. So I was actually very pleased that I could follow the entire webinar. Luckily, some meetings got cancelled on my side, so sometimes it can be a good start of the day. Huh? Okay. So it's very great from my side to see how you progressed. I've been following now all 3 projects. And the last time I saw some prototypes or some demonstrations a year ago on the tools that were really just just a frame. And now I can see the actual how they look and how they work. And this is very amazing, at least from my side, to see. And I think on my side, I will propose that we internally that we do some sort of like a Cordis publication for all 3 projects, so to at least help a bit in the communication and dissemination of your results. So I will definitely get in touch with all the project coordinators in the next months. Now on the important part of the discussions that you had, it's how to make the use of these tools also beyond the project. That is always the crucial question. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer. We normally push the projects to think about the exploitation, and you do that already. And especially now that you are all 3 projects in final phases, So this is something very important to think of. From our side, what we normally offer is, again, to apply for another funding, which is not ideal, but this is how I see, at least from my experience, how things work. It's not ideal. I'm not personally in favor of it. So hopefully you can still think creatively how to push things through. This is something I would encourage you to do anyways. But of course, on our side, we will think of ways how to make progress on this. And maybe one attempt that we have right now, and you probably all heard of it, and because I mentioned it to you, is the MIP for Adapt platform. It's built in the context of the EU mission on adaptation to climate change. Okay, the name is focused on the adaptation, but I think especially your 3 projects shows that mitigation is, and the interaction between them, it's very important to put in. And I think this is where your 3 projects can bring value to the platform. So I think I think it's, at least from my side or from our side, I think at the moment it's the best tool that we have. Maybe people from the environmental agency will know better, will know more, but the MIP for Adapt actually works in the context of Climate Adapt platform. Okay. And this is where also recently has been a push to also standardize the whole risk assessment, the strategy, the preparation of strategies, not only at local, but also at regional and national levels. So it's something that is happening. I'm not in full update of how things are progressing, but definitely there are task groups that are thinking on this. And given that you have such a lot of experience from all this, 3 years, 4 years of work together, and before probably, so I think you can bring added value there to discussions. And this is a platform that will continue, and this is where you can continue advertising your tools. Think of how they can be integrated. Of course, that's always welcome among each other. But what is important to know about this platform is that it's not just a platform for researchers, but it's actually very much focused on involving regional and local authorities. So you probably have extensive networks already on your site, but that is another one, and it can go broader from within the project. So from my side, at the moment, this is it. I hope it's helpful, at least to one extent. And I will definitely come back to you in reviews and see how things were thought of, how things are thought through, and how things will progress, definitely. And again, it's really great to see that you have met each other in this webinar. I know you did it before. So I'm very pleased to see that. So thanks a lot. I guess, Roberto, you were the organizing force behind it, but also Alessia and Christine and Marianne, I think. It's great to see you working together.
Projects, yes. Thank you very much, Sasa. I take this opportunity to tell you that you know that we have a final open session in Vilnius, Lithuania, on 17th of September. You are all invited to be on site there. And we have the contributions also at the end of the day from Nevermore and Knowing. So that will be a good opportunity. Thank you very well. There is a comment from Hans from the Environmental Agency. Please, Hans.
Yes, thanks. Just responding to what the colleague from the CINEA just said. So I've put a contact email address for the Climate Adapt team into the chat. I'm not personally involved in the mission of adaptation platform, but I'll let them know about this webinar so they have a context if you want to get in touch with the colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hans. Yeah, so having said that, I think we are 3 minutes over the time, but fantastic webinar. And yes, I just want to tell you, you have a good day. We finish here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.